In 1918, the surviving crew members of the HMAS Sydney were each honoured with a commemorative medallion. But why did they choose a Mexican silver dollar as its centrepiece? 4 years earlier, at the beginning of the war, the German cruiser, the Emden, was prowling the Indian Ocean, preying on Allied ships. Early in the morning on the 9th of November 1914, 50 to 60 of the Emden sailors landed on Direction Island, part of the British colony, the Cocoa Islands. They attacked the wireless station, cutting communication links and destroying equipment.
Obviously, the commanding officer created a detailed report which was sent initially to the authorities in Australia, and then an authority in Australia sent a copy back to us here in the UK. And then eventually certain details were published in the London Gazette. So we have quite a good history of the Sydney Emden action.
The HMAS Sydney was sent to intercept, and so began the Battle of the Cocos, Australia's first ever naval fight in the First World War.
The initial encounter between the HMAS Sydney and the Emden, the Sydney really got too close and obviously was able to be hit by the Emden. The Sydney was a much more powerful ship, so eventually she sailed further away and was then able to use her ability to use her longer range guns just to take shots at the Emden without suffering any further hits herself, which was advantageous because it resulted in fewer casualties. The purpose of capturing any information from survivors was to gather intelligence. So obviously all of the Germans who were captured on the Emden were asked a set of specific questions to corroborate the activities of that ship that the Royal Navy were aware of. So what they wrote down were quite important. So it's quite an interesting process of actually sitting down and reading a German document and actually looking at what they said over 100 years ago now.
The Sydney outpaced and outfired the German ship, and within just 5 hours of the original attack, the Emden was sinking and its captain had abandoned it.
The Mexican silver dollars, they're mostly dated mid to late 1890s. It's reported that German troops in Qingdao in China, the beer-making colony, were paid in silver dollars. The Emden had been part of the fleet operating out of Qingdao and then to the north of Australia.
3 years later, a cache of over 6,000 Mexican coins were recovered from the wreck of the Emden. The British government decided that some of these should be mounted in commemorative medals for the Sydney's crew, whose bravery and heroism had put an end to the fighting in the Indian and Pacific Oceans.